7 reasons why I pray in tongues. 7 reasons why I believe it is good to exercise the gift of tongues throughout our days. 1 Corinthians chapter 14. These all come from there. Number 1, it is communion with God. We see in the second verse. Tongues is a form of communion with God. I know you love communion with God. I love communion with God. Therefore, tongues should be loved by us all. Number 2, it is consciousness of the Spirit's presence, also seen in verse 2. It is a spiritual connection. I love the presence of the Spirit. I know you love the presence of the Spirit. Praying in tongues is a way of consciousness of His presence. It is a way of living conscious of His presence. Number 3, it builds us up. Specifically, it gives us power over ourselves. I need power over myself, over the way I think, the way I see things, my own body, my own tongue. I need power over myself. And praying in the Spirit builds us up, gives us strength or power over ourselves. Number 4, it increases a few things. This is found in verse 16. The last was found in verse 4. But it increases knowledge. It increases revelation. It increases teaching and prophecy. Just quickly on each one of these, I need the knowledge of God. Don't you? Don't you love the knowledge of God? Well, praying in tongues helps increase your knowledge of God. Number 2, it also increases revelation, which is very connected to the knowledge of God. We need things uncovered for us. And praying in the Spirit helps uncover them. Open my eyes to see the wonderful things in your law. That's revelation. Also, teaching. It helps us be able to break things down in the way of understanding. We understand things in order to be able to break them down for others to understand them. This tongues helps with. Also, prophecy, speaking for God, hearing what God is saying. It comes increasingly through a life of praying in the Spirit. Number 5, this is found in verse 14. It is the exercise of the Spirit, man. So often we are more familiar with our natural life and our natural body than we are with our spirit man. And so because of this, our spiritual senses are numb and our physical senses rule. But the more you exercise your spirit man, the more familiar you are with the spiritual senses. They are trained by use. And so the more that we live a life of praying in the Spirit, the more aware we are of the spirit man and how he feels, how he sees, how he perceives. And those things begin to take precedence over the natural. Number 6, it is spiritual worship to God. He says, I sing in the Spirit. This is verse 15. Singing in the Spirit is one of my favorite things to do. I don't even know how often I do it, but I do it all the time, every day. Just finding that place of just letting a new song from my spirit go up to God in worship. It is a wonderful exchange. It is a blissful, sevenfold bliss of experiencing God's presence by just getting lost and wrapped, R-A-P-T, in His presence through softly singing in the Spirit to Him. I love this. Number 7, it can be exercised at will. Verse 15 shows us that we can do this at will. There isn't many things we're able to just do, but this one for sure we are able to do. Paul says, I pray in the Spirit more than all of you. He also says, I wish that you all would pray in the Spirit or speak in tongues. So this being exercised at will means that you can live in a constant, continuous praying in the Spirit, if you wish. And how much you pray in the Spirit is up to you. And that to me is wonderful because it's not hindered by, a service or some type of a situation that I have to be in order to pray in tongues. I can pray in tongues. You can pray in tongues any time, any place, anywhere. So Father, help us to recognize how important it is to pray in the Spirit and to live aware of you. In your precious name, quicken us with a fresh grace to enjoy and to constantly be letting the river that's in the belly out of our mouths through constantly singing in the Spirit and praying in the Spirit and living in communion with you and in consciousness of you through tongues. In your precious name, amen. God bless you guys.